Hey guys, Professor Bill of Comic Book University, and in this week's Marvel Superheroes Advanced Role-Playing Game System, open up your blue book to page number 91, because we're going to be talking about other talents. That's right, we're going to be rounding out our talents capabilities here. Okay, so crack it open, let's begin. Other talents. This is a catch-all category for all the other types of talents the character may gain. These often have some form of background or special nature. So we're going to start off with the first one, artist. Okay, the character with an artist background creates works of art, either for himself or for the sale of others. This includes painting, sculpting, and writing. Here where it says a single work takes 1 to 10 weeks, and upon completion grants the artist karma points equal to 10 times the greater number of the weeks, the character must allocate some time daily for his work. Or I'm going to not combine this, but I'm going to make this similar to what I would do with the performance talent. I would say that every night that you're doing this, that you're working on this, or every day, whatever, you're going to get 5 karma points for what you do. So that's a daily 5 karma points for applying to your art. You simply have to devote 2 to 3 hours to doing it. You know what I'm saying? So let me throw in performer in this also while we're at it. So performer. The character is someone who acts, sings, dances, mimes, or otherwise uses his talents to entertain. This is related to the artist. The key difference being that the artist may leave the scene of creation. The performer is identified with the creation directly. A performer receives 10 karma points for a week's worth of performance, whether in a play, going to a nightclub routine, or working for a movie. Again, I'm going to default to, like, you want to do it that way, by all means. That's on you. I'm of the opinion 5 karma points per day. Let's say you got 2 gigs. You're Dazzler. You're going to go out and singing. All right? You got 2 gigs this week. You know what I'm saying? You're going to devote 2 to 3 hours each day, 2 nights a week. You know what I'm saying? Bang. There you go. It's 5 karma points for each performance. Maybe there's even a chance to make a popularity feat, and if you succeed, it's either success or fail. So white or green, you either had a horrible experience, or, you know, with green, you had an average experience, no extra karma points. If you get yellow or red, you had an exceptional or a, you know, once-in-a-lifetime sort of experience where you get double karma. You get 10 karma points for that particular night. I would suggest doing something like that. All right, you know, like that's my opinion in that particular regard. It could be a popularity feat, or it could be a popularity feat based off of your reason or your intuition or your psyche, whatever your talent is based on. You know what I'm saying? If it's street performance art, it could be based on agility. You know, like if you're working Circle A, then it's going to be based on agility. You know, like if you're a martial artist and you can be doing katas, you know, and demonstrations like that. That's absolutely an artist. It's in the name, martial artist. Then it's going to be based off of your fighting, you know? Maybe you do bodybuilding competitions and things like that. Whatever it is that you can do, base it on what you think it should be based on. All of these, artist and performer, they're different, yet very similar, all right? So if you're going to, there you go. It could be guitar. It could be the drums, both of which I can play, or what I'm learning to do right now, the acapella. So whatever it is that you're going to be working on, that is your performance or artist ability. And take it in stride. Take it in stride. But 5 karma points per, like that was a quick little, you know, 3-second demonstration. No karma. No karma. Me, however, doing these previews all the time, when I feel like I really hit it off or something like that, oh yeah, I'm getting karma points for this, all right? Suck it. Suck it, people. Suck it. But I'm taking all that karma. I'm trying to build up a new power, you know? Got things to do. I want to learn how to fly. Anyway, so absolutely, artist, performer, that's just my opinion. You want to do it the way the book says, by all means. But in my opinion, every night that you can do some kind of a performance, if suddenly you're going to do a breakout performance, you know what I'm saying? If you got the performance ability and you're somebody like Captain America, you know, and you're going to, you know, use your popularity and you're going to start talking to people, and also, you know, incorporate your leadership ability to talking to these people, and you're going to give a great speech in front of a whole bunch of people. People are going to start crying because of how amazing your speech and how inspiring your speech was. You know what I'm saying? You deserve karma for that. You absolutely deserve karma for that. You know, I was running a campaign with the Nerderkists and a couple of other people online over on the Nerderkey channel. And what do you call it? Oh, for crying out loud, I haven't talked to him forever. Travis Bowles, who is actually the guy who does all the production for WebDM. All right. He's the behind the scenes guy, but when he played the game with us, all right, when I was judging that game, he was actually a news reporter. That was his character's name was Broadcast, and he would be a news reporter, and every time in the end of the game, he would give some kind of a news broadcast to everybody who was watching the live stream. And if it was really good, depending on how good it was, is how much karma I would give him. Sometimes I would give him up to 15 karma points. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's what he was doing. So by all means, you know, have some fun with the darn talents. You know, like really let them be able to do something on the spot and just bang, hit it out the park. Languages. This is a fun one. Characters with this talent have a natural understanding of languages. The character gains one additional language at start. So you'll have your natural, whatever your native language is, your native tongue is, it can actually be, like my wife speaks 3 languages, and the 3rd language she learned is actually English. And that's her native tongue because when she thinks in English. You know, so take that into consideration, what your native language is. Whatever language you think in, that's where your cognitive abilities come from. That's your native language, even though that's her 3rd language. I speak 5 languages. English is by far my mother tongue. You know what I'm saying? The other 5 languages that I know, it's actually 4 languages spoken and sign language. Can't really speak sign language. You know what I'm saying? That's different. Like there's going to be various levels of fluency, and that's something that should also be taken into consideration, are levels of fluency. Very hard to do with the Marvel game. A game like GURPS, very easy to do, but anyway, take something like that into consideration. Either way, as long as you can communicate with a taxi driver or local people, I'd say you're fluent enough. You know what I'm saying? That's about my level of fluency with all my languages, sometimes including English. So you get one additional language besides your mother tongue to start, and you may add other languages at half the cost of a talent, meaning 500 points, regardless of who teaches it. Characters without language talents must gain this talent first to learn other languages. The gaining of additional languages assumes someone is available to teach these languages. A player character with this talent does not have to assign a language at start, but may fill in one later as need be. So Wolverine, he knew a 2nd language. You're figuring, oh, he's Canadian. He probably knows like French, you know what I'm saying? But nope, turns out later on, oh, it's actually Japanese. You speak Japanese? You know, hey. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Come on. So when you want to use it, and you're just like, oh, I'd like to be able to use this. We do this in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, also all the Dungeons & Dragons games also, right? All the versions. So same thing here. You can hold that language and use it for later. And hell, if you got an extra 1,000 karma points, you buy 2 more languages, you can hold them until you need them also. Why not? You know? So keep that in mind. And yeah, you can turn to page 39 and check out how much it costs normally to buy languages. It's usually 1,000 karma points to buy a new talent, any new talent, 2,000 if it's a fellow player who's teaching it. That goes in multiple regards. They say it's just to get out of the house, so to speak. I say, you know, have you ever had your mom or your dad or an older brother or sister teach you how to drive and they've got no patience with you, but then you go to a driving school or have a friend teach you and all of a sudden it's a completely different story? Yeah, like that. You know what I'm saying? Other people who aren't with you 24/7, somehow they've got a little bit more patience in teaching you and you know, being okay with all the little mistakes that you're going to make along the way. So keep that in mind. Anyway, it's 1,000 karma points to learn a new talent from somebody else, but here it's halved if you've got the language skill when it comes to languages. We're going to get to student in a little while also. And I'm going to have a little something else to say. Well, basically, if you have the student skill, I would charge only 400 for a new talent, or for a new language. So if you've got the languages talent, which is basically linguistics, and you've got student, then there, I would say instead of 500 karma points, you'd spend 400 karma points and you get a new language. Having the language talent in and of its way, it's a weird thing. You learn basically the grammatical subtext of what you're going to say is different in every language. Case in point, the most important thing in grammar for English is tense, all right? He said, she did, she will do, they are doing, they've done. You know, tense is important. Tense is time. So we always want to know time when we're speaking. When did this happen? That's in pretty much every single thing that we say. Every single thing we say. Even if we say you are stupid. Right now, you are stupid. The to be verb is basically what it is. It's called the to be verb. I teach English on the side. So anyway, keep that in mind. As far as the student talent, which we might as well get into now, the student talent is basically the idea that you never got what happens to most people in American schools, at the very least, disillusioned with school. You know, when you're sitting in school and you raise your hand and you're just like, teacher, what am I going to ever use this for when I'm older? And the teacher says, trust me, you need to know it, plus it's on the test. You don't trust your teacher. Nobody trusts their teacher, especially not when they say, trust me. So you look at it as, yeah, I only need to learn this for the test. None of this stuff is freaking important. So why the heck am I learning it? Whatever. I'll learn it for the stupid test and I'll move on and I'll just forget about it. And unfortunately, that's what happens in the American school systems most of the time. It's a shame. But that's another conversation. That's another video. So for here, student is you never really lost that wanderlust. You know what I'm saying? When everybody else is on the train, riding down the road, holding on to the strap, just trying to get to work. You're that child-minded person who's got their hands and face pressed up against the glass, looking at all the different trees and looking at all the cows that are going by. Like, you've got that curiosity. It never left you. You like the idea of learning. So it's a talent, yes, to stay interested in learning new things. So that's where the student talent comes from. And in that regard, similar to heir to fortune, okay, we'll get to that too, this talent may only be chosen at the start of play and may not be gained through experience. The student character has no other initial talents, but may gain other talents at a discounted price. New talents cost 1,000 karma points if learned from another player character, 800 if learned from the outside. Personally, I would consider dropping that to 700, maybe even 750, but, you know, it's up to you. Like, what's the difference in 100 karma points? A power stunt, that's what. So that's why I figure 700 would probably be better, but if you want to do 750, if you want to keep it 800, you're the judge, right? Students may maintain advanced totals for a talent along with other forms of advancement funds. So, yeah, you can basically have more than one talent that you're saving up your karma points for. You know, I just got 80 karma points. I want to put 40 in this and 20 in that one, and I'll save the other 20 because I think Dr. Octopus is over there, and I'm going to need an extra, you know, spiff to my punch. So, yeah. Anyway, that's basically the student. So again, go and take a look at page 39 to see how characters progress and advance as far as learning new talents, and then compare it to the student talent and the languages talent. Moving on. First aid. Okay, so first aid. The medicine talent notes that the loss of endurance may be halted by someone checking on a dying character and the administrating of some form of first aid. And with medicine talent, that's up to 20 rounds. I suggested more, but go check out professional talents, professional skills to see where I stand on that. The first aid talent grants the character this immediate halt to endurance rank loss up to 5 rounds. So while someone who practices medicine, who actually has the medical profession, they're an actual doctor, he or she, they are able to bring someone who's gone to shift 0 and has stayed at shift 0 for up to 20 rounds, they can stabilize the person 20 rounds after they're not allowed to. Technically, they're dead. Once you reach shift 0, you don't get any more rolls. You're dead. Your character is dead. But 20 rounds later, a doctor can save you. I've given the suggestion that if you have access to a first aid kit or an ambulance or, God forbid, a full-blown medical facility, like they just rushed you through the door, you know, or, you know, through medevac or something like that, or off an ambulance, then boom, the doctor should be able to save you more than 20 rounds afterwards, but whatever. That's whatever. More than 20 rounds, that's like, more than 2 minutes. Brain death could potentially happen, but this is the Marvel Universe, you know what I'm saying? So, have some fun with it. But here, with first aid, something very similar, except you only get 5 rounds after they've reached shift 0 to do that. Now, if you have access to a first aid kit or an actual ambulance, I'd say that your roundage should increase to 10. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to go up to 10 rounds after they've reached shift 0 to stabilize them. But, whatever, it's your game. But what's cool is that unlike the other medical professions, not only can you stabilize them, you can actually increase their endurance rank +1 column shift. So if they're at shift 0, boom, you could bring them up to feeble 2. That is really cool. That is extremely cool. Now, something else that I would consider, and I didn't say this during my, because I literally just now thought of this, something else that I'd considered when, that should be considered for the medical, the medicine talent and possibly first aid also, is that you got to them soon enough that they're not going to have a disability. All right, so go and check out, what is it? Life, death, and the kill save. I forget which video it is. Go back and you actually see the death save. There's a chance that you can actually have disabilities if you have anything like over good. You go and check out the video for more. But you can actually have disabilities until you buy them back or after a certain period of time has gone by. With this, I would say that you maybe have an opportunity to resist that. You know what I'm saying? Because someone who does first aid may also be considered a physical therapist. You know what I'm saying? That's not a doctor. It's not the same thing. But I would say that, instead of being just first aid, you can also instead do physical therapy. So physical therapist would be somebody who can actually help someone to speed along and to reduce the amount of time you'd have a disability, if at all. So, all things to consider, right? We can always make new talents. Repair tinkering is a fun one. With repair tinkering, the character with this talent gains +1 column shift to any reason feat involving the repair and modification of existing items, but not the building of new items. This +1 column shift may be added to any other bonus gained from other talents, so that an engineer with tinkering talent would gain +2 column shifts on repair. Let me take that a step further. Adding +1 column shift to, let's say, what are these other ones called? The scientific skills. To a scientific skill where you're not, go and check out my video on scientific skills. You can't combine scientific skills with other scientific skills. And you can only apply one scientific skill to another ability, another talent that's outside of scientific. So, what say you if you were to add repair tinkering to electronics and then both of them to engineering? Would that give, it's up to you, because again, the wording of that is kind of elusive. It could say, no, you can't combine electronics with 2 different things like that. I get it. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Maybe. Either way, combining repair tinkering with electronics or repair tinkering with electronics, or electronics or engineering or computers or whatever to repair, let's say, a suit, a power suit. Yeah, absolutely. When you're repairing or doing modifications, +2 column shifts instead of +1. That's pretty badass, I'm just saying. Okay, let's move on. Trivia. Trivia is a really fun one. Trivia, this is a general category that covers any one subject desired by the character. On that subject, the character gains +1 column shift to all reason feats. Say the character is into collecting spores and fungus. A trivia talent would be trivia, spores, fungus. Trivia categories should be more specific. Old movies, military history, sports, rock music, comic books, as opposed to general, all knowledge, or covered by other talents. So, let's say you have entomology. If I'm right, that means the study of ants, I think. Now, CSI, the original CSI, the main guy, Grissom, I think his name was, he had a lot of talent with ants, very specifically. This could be anything. Again, this could be comic books, knowledge of comic books. I would say depending on what your range is, depends on either how many of these, because I'm harkening back to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition, when you could take one spell slot. The only time you could ever do this, you could take one first level spell slot, and instead of having one first level spell, you can give yourself 4 level 0 cantrips instead. All right? That was always fun. So something very similar here. Depending on what your range of knowledge is. If you know all about ants, you know what I'm saying? Or if you know all about insects, that's one thing, right? That's an entire talent right there. But if you know all about ants only, okay, like you'll obviously know about, a bunch of other bugs too, because segmentation, all sorts of things like that. There's only but so much that, is really going to be different. But if you especially know all things about ants, boom, you can combine that with your biology talent. Also, I would say you can have one more talent, one more trivia talent based on that one talent skill that you've got. So, you know everything about ants, not everything about all insects? Okay, well then you can also know about spiders too. Or let's say you also want to know about all Marvel comics as opposed to all comics period, or Marvel and DC comics. You know what I'm saying? Something along those lines. Knowing about all comics, no, that's very much too general. You know what I'm saying? This should be specific. And the more specific, the better. So knowing about all baseball, I'd say if you've got the talent, like the performer talent for baseball, absolutely, baseball, all things baseball. But as far as the history of baseball, you could take like baseball history or history in general and just say that's very specifically baseball history. Yeah, have fun. That's yours. It's all yours, bud. It's all yours. But let's say you were to say, I mostly know about the Yankees. Okay, cool. There you go. I would say you'd be able to know about the Yankees and you'd be able to know about the Knicks over in basketball. You know what I'm saying? All the New York teams. So you also know about the Jets and the Giants too. I know all the New York teams. You know what I'm saying? The New York, New Jersey teams. Maybe throw in the New Jersey Devils in there while you're at it. You know what I'm saying? By all means. Or you could be very specific. I know about the 1985 New York Yankees. Boom. You could have like 20 of those. Okay, maybe not 20, but like 5? Yeah, sure. You can have like 5 of those kinds of things. I know everything about the Secret Empire, all the crossovers, that are in that comic book collection, that Marvel Comics event, or some people don't like that one, say the Civil War. Yes, I know everything about the Civil War comic books, including all the tie-ins, all the crossovers, and what led, the prequel and all the stories that led afterwards. I don't know in detail all the stories, but I know which stories came afterwards in general, what the chronological order of them are. So that as Avengers Disassembled had everything to do with House of M, which led to the Marvel Superhero Civil War. And that's the reason why comic books came back into, Marvel Comics came back into the limelight again, was very specifically because of the Civil War, which again kind of led credence to the two things that led up to it. So that depends on you. That depends on you and how far you want to go, how specific you want to get with your specific trivia. But this is a trivia talent. It's something where if somebody's talking about this, boom, you are the freaking dude to come to. You're the person that everybody says, hold on, wait a second. We're talking about Pet Rocks? This guy over here knows the entire history of Pet Rocks or G.I. Joe. Like, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, everything that there is to know about G.I. Joe. The cartoons, the comic books, the movie that came out, the history behind the movie, all that stuff, boom, right over there. You know that Joe was actually supposed to die, and he wasn't supposed to live, but it had something to do with the Transformers, and they accidentally killed Optimus Prime when they definitely shouldn't have. and they're like, yeah, if we kill Joe, it's probably going to be a very similar backlash. Meanwhile, most of us are like, yeah, let Joe die, it's fine. So, yeah, trivia. Okay. Hey, it could be trivia about this stuff right here, guys. It could be trivia about role-playing games, or very specifically the Marvel Superheroes Advanced Role-Playing Game System. I managed to squeak that in twice in one video. Trivia, which one did I do it in? So, performer, we already talked about that. Animal training. The character with this talent has the ability to train animals to perform certain stunts. The individual does not have animal empathy or communication and control, but may teach an animal a trick based on the reason feat roll. If the hero with this talent does have animal empathy or animal communication and control, the powers, these powers are raised by +1 column shift. So all I'm going to say is the dog whisperer, and now we're moving on. Okay, so heir to fortune. This is not a talent by any measure of the words. Basically, if you have remarkable or better resources, this does not increase your resources. All right, if you've got excellent, this isn't going to bump you +1 column shift. You can only take this if you have remarkable or better resources. Then you are basically an heir to a fortune. You've inherited a lot of money, whether your parents are still alive or dead, or the person who gave you the inheritance, who signed you up for it. What do you call it? You always have money. What this basically means is you don't have to detail where your money comes from. You've always got money coming to you. You've got a trust fund, basically. You're a trust fund baby, darn it. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. That's what this means, all right? So it's just basically a background sort of thing. It's something that it shouldn't necessarily be taken away from you, because that's, like, I know it happened in the comic books at one point. I think it was during the Defenders time period. I can't remember, but it really shouldn't be taken away from you without a really good reason, all right? Like, your money is protected by somebody who is much smarter than you. You know what I'm saying? We already talked about student leadership. Leadership is going to be a tough one. The hero with this talent has the brains and understanding of a cohesive group such that he is a benefit to the team. Any karma pool which the character belongs to receive 50-point bonus, provided the character with this talent is recognized as the team leader. We're going to talk about karma pools later. I realize it's something I should have talked about before I did talents, but hell, we're in the last talent section, so literally the last talent of the final talents category. Too late now. So a karma pool may have only one recognized leader, though more than one character with the leadership talent may belong to one group. When the leader of the group leaves, the 50 karma points is deducted, but it doesn't go with the person. It appeared into the karma pool, and it will disappear from the karma pool. It doesn't go with anybody. Those 50 karma points dissipate. And it's only a lousy 50 karma points to begin with. Who cares about 50 lousy karma points? I say make it 500. Dude, this is a big time talent, and that's all it does, is it gives you a lousy 50 karma points? Wrong answer. I'm modifying this, and I'm making this a part of the rules right now. Jeff Grubb can go kiss it, okay? The new rules for the leadership talent are as follows. And of course, it's house rules, but it's good house rules, all right? I say make it 500 karma points that you're throwing in there, and yes, those disappear. Once they disappear, that means that the karma pool is owed. It's owed. Otherwise, these guys are breaking up as a team. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what? It doesn't even have to leave. As long as the person stays in the team for at least, like, I don't know, say a week. It's only a one-time thing. It's only a one-time thing, basically. The hero can't do it again later on unless it's an entirely different team. Like, 2 members of the team could still be on the team. Any more than 2 members, you can't get that 500 karma points added to the pool, okay? So, bang, there. I would say it should be 500 karma points. I mean, come on, dude. What are you going to do with 50 lousy karma points? And that's the talent? But more than that, you don't really want the character leading the team, like bossing around the other team members. So here's what I'm going to suggest. A couple of things utilizing from other game systems. I would say that, for one, any maneuvers that characters are going to do, whether it involves the team leader or not, okay, that should actually get a +1 for whatever they're trying to accomplish. So fastball special, +1 column shift to hit. Hey, if you miss with the fastball special, then retroactively you say that Cyclops or Storm was screaming out, no fastball special right now. You know, saying, wait, hold that. I need you to do this instead. And they decided to go with it anyway, or they didn't hear it or whatever. But this was them acting outside of the will of the leader. And boom, you wind up missing, and it screws something up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, by all means. This could really just add flavor to the game, but on top of that, give pluses to succeed in certain things, like specifically maneuvers. It doesn't involve somebody having to say, hey, team leader, can Colossus and Wolverine do the freaking fastball special? No, Colossus and Wolverine are going to do the fastball special whether Colossus's character says do it or not, but Cyclops' character says do it or not, okay? The trick is that when they do it, it's because the team leader was also, or it gels with what the team leader was thinking, okay? And again, if you miss, even with that +1 column shift to hit, if you miss, well, then you could retroactively say, oh, the team leader was saying no, but it was too late, or you didn't care because Wolverine is stubborn anyway. Throw me anyway, you know, you're rusky. So you could do that. Another thing you can consider doing is any kind of a plan that the group is doing. The judge can suggest to the team leader, make me a roll. So you can suggest that this is an intuition feat or a psyche feat or a reason feat. Any of those RIP feats, okay? Depending on what you're trying to do. Like, for instance, okay, how should we go after Magneto? You know what I'm saying? Should we storm Asteroid M or should we try to sneak aboard? What should we do? This is probably an intuition feat. You know what I'm saying? So, and that probably has more to do with leadership than anything else. So I would suggest that the hero is going to make a roll. And a lot of these rolls should probably be in secret. But make a roll using your, basically an intuition feat roll. You know what I'm saying? Yellow or red to succeed. And if they succeed, and whether they succeed or pass, you write down, the judge should write down on a piece of paper and hand that piece of paper to the player character with the leadership talent. And you're basically giving a little bit of advice. You know, like pick door A. If there's 2 or 3 doors to choose from, you write down pick door A. Of course, if the person passed the leadership test, which the individual wouldn't know if they did or not, then hey man, by all means, you write down the correct answer. But you give the wrong answer if they got a really low roll. And yeah, you can't add karma to that roll. So this could purposely be done behind a GM screen. No adding karma to that roll. You know, like how do you add karma to a leadership roll in that particular regard? You know, that's your gut feeling. So anything that you want to do as far as like giving them advice or a hint or something, or you could just give them advice like, your leader has a feeling that going this way, like, you know, if the characters are really doing something where you're like, you know, okay, here is a chance you succeed. Everything else, basically, the floor is lava and you're screwed. So they won't necessarily die. You know, they can crawl along the walls or the ceiling, but the floor is lava, man. But over here, you can basically say the floor is lava. Okay, you could basically say that. You know, like that's not a good idea. This is a better idea. If one of your player characters is the recognized leader of the group, and boom. So it never has to be that the person with leadership is bossing around the other player characters. It could simply be that the judge will, even if you're doing it once an encounter or even once per game session, you're giving a little bit of advice to the player character. Boom. That is huge, man. That is huge. Again, you couple that with the idea that, you know, +1 for any maneuvers, you know what I'm saying? +1 for a power stunt to succeed, you know what I'm saying? Maybe something along those lines. Whatever you want to do in that regards. Leadership is pretty costly, and it can't be a lousy 50 karma points that they get as long as they recognize the team. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. I'd be infuriated at that. As far as other skills, basically they're saying you can put in like, you know, botany, you know what I'm saying, instead of something else or along with something else. You can make your own talents. Like they got the Ultimate Talents handbook. This is not an official handbook of the Marvel Cinematic, the Marvel role-playing game systems. Excuse me, this is fan-made. I'm personally not a huge fan of it, but it's not bad in and of itself. It's just a little bit excessive. It kind of takes away from the imagination of the players. If the players don't have a good imagination to begin with, this is if your character creation stinks, I know I don't want to play with you anyway. I'm gonna make excuses, be like, yeah, I gotta wash my hair that day. I don't care. I'll make an excuse. All right. The point is, making new talents, and here they say it should not couple with anything else. Well, that's just silly, because what if you have botany? You know what I'm saying? And then you can't couple that with engineering? Heck, my suggestion in two videos ago was to add to take away genetics and make that a part of biology, and add mechanic instead. So what, mechanic can't be combined with engineering? Well, that's just silly. You know, so ignore what they say in other skills and simply make your own other skills. And if your judge approves it, cool, man. But it should be within reason. You should try and keep it along with some of these other things. And it absolutely should go in one of these categories. If you make a skill or a talent that is so obtuse that it doesn't even fit in one of these categories, I mean, clearly fit in one of these categories, I would say you're probably not, you probably shouldn't consider using that particular talent. That's just my recommendation. But hey, and that's really going to be it. Boom, dude, talents are done, baby. Talents is done. I've already did a video on contacts, if I remember correctly. I'll probably do some stuff on powers pretty soon. We're working this, man. We're working it. All right, I'm out. That's going to be it for me, guys. Make your talents, play your games, kick some butt, have your Moon Knight or your Wolverine, Wolverine has a lot of talents, your Captain America. Have your Batman style character. Absolutely. All right. Night Owl. Night Owl. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.
Thank you.